Top 10 free-to-play monsters for ToA and how to get them. And to help me tell you about those monsters, I'm bringing my friend, the man who's editing this video, Michael.
What's up, dude?
What's going on, man? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. All right, let's see what I can do. Number 10, Sigmarus, the Water Phoenix, and you can get her in the Fusion Hexagram.
That was great.
Yeah?
Sigmarus' inclusion on the list is really because of accessibility and also the hard crowd control that she offers on skill 3, skill 2, and actually skill 1 now that I mention it. I could have just said all 3 skills.
She already has a lot of videos on the channel, so we're not going to dwell on it too long. But 2 things you need to know is she's good for the waves because she freezes, but she's good for the boss floor because of her max HP scaling damage.
Number 9 is Fran, the Light Fairy Queen.
And you can find her in the Summoner's Way questline.
The fact that Fran is appearing this early in the list kind of goes to show the quality of monsters that we're talking about.
It's true.
It really is the 10 best. Like, there's no bad monster here. So don't let the fact that she's at number 9 fool you. I even still use her on occasion.
She's a great source of cleanse and immunity.
That's all.
That's it.
That's it. She also has a 10% backup speed lead. So if you don't have a speed lead, you could use her instead. But she's really here for the cleanse and immunity.
Yeah,
so,
100%.
I just realized we're not talking about runes.
This is how you ruin her.
For realsies though, she also applies an attack buff on her 3rd skill, and all of her heals scale with attack. So you don't even have to rune her on attack to get those beefy heals from her. And she makes your damage dealers hit a little harder.
Number 8 is Crow, who you can also find in the Summoner's Way questline.
Crow offers debuff scaling damage on 2 of his 3 skills, and just straight up bigger damage on skill 3 along with a brand. And that ends up being really good for bosses.
Combine that with Team Up on skill 2 and you got yourself a heck of a monster.
Dude, the value is insane. A lot of valuable first skills.
We love value stacking.
You probably already have Crow runed up for dungeons, so just bring him as he is, honestly. You probably have him on Fatal Blade or Rage Blade. That's great. I'm a big fan of how you've ruined your Crow.
Number 7 is Lauren the Light Cowgirl, who you can get anytime the Hall of Light is open in the secret dungeon. Or you can go to chat channel 1050 and type in LF Lauren SD.
And people will ignore your messages.
Yeah.
Lauren's here for the same reason we bring her everywhere. She's got defense break, slow, and attack bar reduction, which, if you're new to the channel, that's a combination of things that the devs just don't want in the game anymore. They took it away from China, and Lauren's the only place it's allowed to be.
China didn't deserve that.
I know, dude. I still cry about that sometimes. The way that translates to usability in ToA is that if you're up against the Lyrith boss, there's a point where she just doesn't get to take a turn anymore as long as Lauren's there.
You can rune Lauren on Swift or Violent. Speed, HP in your 2, 4, and 6 slots. Don't be fooled that she's an attack type because you're going to want to rune her tanky because longevity is the goal here for new players.
Yeah, she's there to set up for your damage dealers. She doesn't have to be the one doing the damage. Outside of some very niche conditions, just rune her tanky and you'll be great. This was a great call, Michael.
Oh, thank you.
This made me rethink the whole list. Number 6 is the Dark Homunculus.
Now there's a video on the channel called Should You Craft the Support Homunculus? And the answer is yes.
As that title would imply, she's in the craft building, and she's totally worth the investment.
For the purposes of this video, build her on the path that increases their cooldown times and decreases yours.
You do have some flexibility when it comes to ruining a Dark Homunculus. I would personally recommend you put her on Violent just because those cooldown times tend to be a little bit longer and you want her to keep using that 3rd skill as much as humanly possible. Pair that with one of the dogs with the team up and you'll have that thing up all the time.
Number 5 is Jeanne the Light Paladin, who I always forget about for some reason, but you shouldn't.
I did too, and that's partially because of my own anger at myself for ruining her on Violent. If you use her, I'd probably recommend you put her on Swift, so that way she doesn't proc out of invincibility. Because there's nothing quite as frustrating as her procking out of invincibility just for her to die when she could have been perfectly safe. You can find Jeanne in the Fusion Hexagram, and what she offers is AoE 2-turn provoke, as well as a small heal on skill 1 and invincibility and cleanse on skill 2.
She's great for the waves because 2 turns of provoke is essentially crowd control because they'll only be able to use their 1st skill on her.
Swift, speed, HP, accuracy. Anything but Violent.
Don't put her on Violent.
Just don't put her on Violent and you'll be great.
Number 4 is Veromos, who you can find in the Fusion Hexagram.
He's our favorite monster, and he should be yours too. That was cute. If you've been on the channel for a while, odds are you probably have a Veromos ruined already. So hopefully you can just take that same Veromos and put him in the tower and make him climb with your team, and you shouldn't have to make too many changes. But if you need to rune one from the get-go, you can put him on Rage if you have the runes available, Speed, Crit Damage, HP, so that way he's a little bit tanky, but he's also dishing out damage with his skill 2 that scales on max HP. But if you don't have Rage runes available, you can put him on like Swift or something, and he'll do great. The skill 2 stuns, We didn't even talk about that.
Those are my favorite, actually, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's the most rewarding feeling when they land.
And it decreases attack bar if it misses. So it's like, literally, you either win or you win a little bit less, but you're still winning. What number is this? 4?
3, 2, 1.
1.
Number 3 is Verdehile, who I got in the Fusion Hexagram.
But I'm a boomer, so I had to summon him the old-fashioned way. I've been playing since 2017. Can you put a ding in there? Verd is one of those monsters where he's going to be the star of your team no matter where you bring him. If you're in the state of the game where you can rune Verd on damage and still get 100% crit rate, then more power to you, put him on rage, let him do some damage. But odds are, if you happen to be in the early game, which is who this video is targeted towards, you can instead put him on whatever gets you 100% crit rate. Don't worry too much about the other stats.
Now this is one of those monsters that I was talking about when I said value stacking.
Yeah, if you happen to pull Verd outside of his turn with either like a Rauk or a Crow or something, you're gonna get extra attack bar because with his passive, you're gaining 20% attack bar for your whole team every single time Verd crits.
Number 2 is Spectra, who you can find in the secret dungeons. He also can fly at 126 miles an hour, if you didn't already know.
I love that because that implies that like Lapis can run 100 miles an hour. Here's why we're bringing Spectra. Spectra has become a staple of ToA thanks in part to his 3rd skill and his 2nd skill. The 3rd skill reduces attack bars, applies a slow, and if you've got him 2nd Awaken, it'll also attack break. And his skill 2 offers max HP damage scaling. You can put him on something akin to either speed, crit damage, HP, or you could even go HP, crit damage, accuracy if you're feeling crazy and just get the rest of your speed from the substats because the dude is already so fast. It's like, how much more speed do you need?
126 miles an hour.
That'll get you pulled over in any state. That'll get you arrested.
Before we get to number 1, we have a couple honorable mentions. Sath and the Water Homunculus. Dots are still very relevant in ToA.
Always have been, always will be. The build of the Water Homunculus with dots is ideal for Sath, who doubles dot damage. Technically, the passive is symmetrical, but that very rarely comes into play. Honestly, if we made this video like last year, I think the Water Homunculus probably would have been in the top 10. But now you're more likely to have it be, say, a Wind Homunculus, so that way it's helping you out in Giants on a speed team.
You can get Sath in the secret dungeons, and you can get the Water Homunculus in the same place that you got the Dark one, in the craft building.
Another honorable mention that I did just kind of want to throw in spontaneously is Rauk, the Fire Inugami. Like, honestly, Rauk is great for value stacking. He just gets you more value out of those super cool skill 1s that you've got scattered throughout your team. Like, need more crits from Verd? Awesome. Need more defense break and attack bar reduction from Lauren? You got it. And he reduces cooldowns. The monster is great. I had to choose between putting him and Crow on the list. And I opted for Crow because odds are you've already got him built and you'd have to kind of go out of your way to build Rauk. But I think bringing 2 monsters on a team up with no prerequisite, dude, Ikaru could learn from that strat.
If you look here, you can see why Evan is biased against him.
I've got that dog in me. And it's Rauk. Finally,
number 1,
Tyron, the Water Sylph, the guy who just got added into his own branch of the Summoner's Way questline. Tyron has a 19% speed lead. He's got hard crowd control on skill 3, attack bar reduction on 2. He's just a super solid monster, and he deserves to be in number 1 and also in everybody's box. So welcome to the Summoner's Way questline, Tyron. Glad you're here.
I'm not.